And so I had to start thinking on my feet. And I couch surfed, for lack of a better terms, for 4 months. Virginia for April, Atlanta for May, Dallas for June. I did 2 weeks in New York in July, then I did 2 weeks in Europe. And then all along, I just paid attention to how I felt. And I felt like I was not where I belonged the entire time. I felt a piece of me was missing the entire time. I felt like I belonged where I am right now in Colorado. And so I did everything in my power to come back. And I found a way out of nothing to come back. I think I signed up to be a club promoter again, and I mean, it fell through, but I mean, and I came back. I mean, everything just fell through. Moral of the story is, if you just do what you know in your gut you're supposed to be doing, everything will line up.
Hola, let's start healing. Hey everyone, I'm Adrianne Murchison, and welcome to episode 50 of the Let's Start Healing podcast. That's right, I said episode 50. We have had, this is our 50th episode of the Let's Start Healing podcast. And you know what? We have more in common than we think, and what we have in common can change the world. I know it's crazy out here, and it doesn't seem like a lot of us have anything in common, but we do. We do. We have more in common than we think. And I think, at least my prayer is, that we are on the brink of a breakthrough. Maybe it's darkest before the dawn. Maybe it's the craziest of crazies before the dawn, before the breakthrough. But God willing, we're on the verge. And I'm not saying that because of who won the election or who didn't win the election. I'm actually saying it because deep inside, that's what I believe. But also, I've been blessed to talk to so many people who are Democrats and Republicans and everything in between. And we do, so indeed, have more in common than we realize. I guess we just have to give each other a chance, and hopefully we will start doing that soon. For this 50th episode, I am so heartened that my nephew, Justin Murchison, is returning. He actually was on episode 9. And so many of you listeners really, really enjoyed him. And he's back again to bring some of his wisdom for the Ready and Real segment of the Let's Start Healing podcast. And this is part 2 of Black Men Navigating 2020. And Justin is going to talk about all things. He's going to talk about how he's gotten through this pandemic, which is going to be very interesting. He's going to talk about just coping as a young Black man, the unrest that has gone on this year, from George Floyd to losing Kobe Bryant to losing Chadwick Boseman, people who have been so important to our culture. He's going to talk about believing in ourselves, how he has believed in himself and where that has gotten him. From thinking that he hit bottom, how believing in himself helped him to rise up again. So there's a lot in store in this conversation with Justin. Let's get started. Let's meet him once again, and let's start healing.
What's up, man?
You're supposed to be on a cruise right now.
That's a fact. We really are, man.
Or at least just getting back with the glow on us or something.
I know. Life. We'll be on another one. This is the third time the charm, too. We had some excursions planned out. Man, I was going to swim with the dolphins.
Exactly.
Love is love.
So that's why we're doing this podcast. I know that even though you're a very social creature, you are also very introspective and deep.
Who knew?
I knew. And you're a millennial, but still,
I'm a millennial.
The pandemic has affected you. First of all, how has it affected you? And you're in Colorado.
Yes.
Your family's on the East Coast, like me.
Oh man, I planned for this. It's crazy. Like I even have like concrete text messages from like 2 years ago in which I was planning for a recession in 2020. Like these are facts. So I mean, like I was telling friends, I was telling, peers, the economy is going to take a dump in 2020.
When did you say that?
2017, 2018. I mean, like I kind of made up a whole 2020 plan in my head. And I think because I had a setback financially over the last year and a half, I thought that I had kind of fallen out of my place when it comes to being prepared for it, but I didn't.
You were prepared? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Because what I thought was, all right, I need a bunch of money saved up so I can be in a position to buy stuff and this and that. And no, I just needed a good foundation. I needed a business. I needed to be in an industry that was recession proof. I needed a career that wasn't affected by a pandemic. So I think by me overshooting and trying to be so much more and pushing myself, I ignored the fact that I was recession proof. And I think I don't like to brag about it, because I think this is a very hard time for a lot of people. I'm very fortunate to be in the situation I'm in on all aspects. I have no real complaints. I was very strategic, and it's had a lot of positive effects on me.
Well, so back up a second. It was recession proof for you because you're in the IT industry, or because of what?
So as you know, a lot of people don't. I work for the Federal Reserve, which was engineered and put together after the Great Depression to pretty much help stabilize the economy. So that job itself, mixed in with being in the IT industry, is like a double entendre. Did I say that word right? Double entendre? Is that right? All right. So it's like a double entendre as far as I was already working from home for the last 2.5 years. I'm in Colorado. My job's in Richmond, Virginia.
So you knew how to work remotely.
I already knew how to work remotely. IT is not going anywhere. It's kind of one of those industries where it's always going to be needed.
More important now than ever.
More important now than ever. And so my 9-to-5 was good. My marketing business, being that I had my EIN, I had my licenses, I had a bank account, I had everything business-wise organized and structured appropriately. I was able to receive a lot of SBA grants, and so forth that they were given away to the businesses that.
Oh, were you?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm in a space where I prepared for this, and there was no cheat code. There was no secret. I just kind of had a good feeling that this was going to happen. And I just knew that this was the year in which I would climb out of a lot of setbacks that I put myself in by experimenting with business and trying out new different things. I have no complaints. I think it's taught me that I have to always think outside the box. I have to take myself serious. I think a lot of times we underestimate what we're really doing. We downplay our actions a lot. We downplay our what we're producing to society. And I think this pandemic has taught me that, what I'm doing is important. These steps that I'm making aren't small. They do matter.
What you're doing as far as your actual work and IT, marketing,
9-to-5 work, the entrepreneurship work. Like, these are important things. And I think so, especially entrepreneurs, I can't really speak on everybody, but, I'm sure somebody can relate. There's a lot of times we feel like, I'm not gonna say defeated, but kind of down. Our businesses aren't moving the way we want them to move. We're not really progressing the way we want to. Our awareness isn't where we want it to be. We almost feel defeated as far as like, well, did I make the right decision? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, is this really going to work out? This is my third, I'm kind of my third year of declaring a loss. It's just establish a foundation, research, take your baby steps seriously, because it doesn't have to be measured up against your peers or what everybody else is doing.
Were you in a shutdown at all?
No. Oh, it was Colorado shut down? Like my job. Yeah, Colorado shut down for a little bit. I'm honestly.
Were you personally though?
So when you say shut down, what do you mean? Like, because Atlanta's wide open.
How is well, I know you came and went, and what happened?
I left.
Yeah. I do want to get to that.
I have nothing to say.
What to get to that?
I have nothing to say.
So there's people, especially in the area that I live in, there's people that are working from home. Yeah. I really don't go anywhere unless I am going to take a trip. I'm going to the beach and I'll be with some friends. I don't go to restaurants.
Yeah.
I go to the store. If I have to go to, I go to the grocery store. If I have to go to the mall and pick something up or whatever I do.
Yeah.
If I have to go out, on an assignment or something like that, I do. But generally, I'm home. No social life. Life has shut down.
You know what's so crazy? The shutdown was directly in sync with my plan for this year anyway.
But did you live that life though? Have you lived the life I just described?
Yeah, I did actually. So my goals and aspirations for 2020 was to, I was a club promoter for 10 years, so 2020 marked 10 years for me. I wanted to stop going. I wanted to stop club promoting for one. I wanted to stop partying as much and going out during the week and drinking so much as I was. I wanted to kind of slow down, stay in the house, save money, kind of start using activities that I would invest in. For instance, got some football cleats, got some golf clubs, activities that promoted fitness. I want to start going to the gym. These were all my aspirations already. This pandemic fell directly in line with those. So, for March, in Colorado's perspective, March, Colorado shut down like intensely. Like, look, everything's closed. I think April, it lasted until about end of April. And then they kind of like started thinking about it in June. So there's a mandatory government mask order in which you have to wear a mask everywhere you go. So, we've always been a green state. We are one of the states in which you do not have to quarantine when you're traveling from, so I've been very fortunate, long story short. I think when I've traveled during this pandemic, I put myself at way more risk at my destination than I did here at home.
So before you came to Atlanta, you told me that you had gone to Florida. So you were here. When were you here? What month was that?
July. I was there for 4.
They all run together for me. So,
I was there.
Right. It was around your birthday. My gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So before you came here, you had taken a trip, and I don't know, you probably went other places too. But I
went to Miami twice in May.
Well, go on with your bad self.
I loved it, to be honest.
What'd you do? How are you living?
So first things first, my flight. I don't know if you're familiar with skip lag, but and the first time I went, my flight out there was $27, $28.
Okay.
The flight back was $47. They were cheap flights. It's May, like all the airlines are taking dumps. So cheap flight, I have some Marriott connections in which it was a cheap room, about $50 a night. Closed down Miami is actually one of the most peaceful places I've been to. No crowds, no tourists, no excessive spending. No.
Did you hang out with friends? A group of friends?
I went with a friend. I went with a friend, and we hung out with some friends there. In the hotel that I had, I was at the AC Midtown, and it had a rooftop pool. And so literally, friends came over to the hotel, which was sanitized and clean. We got, some. Long story short, I had a good time. I went twice, and it was, I think, the most risky that I've been throughout this pandemic was Atlanta.
So you came to Atlanta. I wouldn't see you. So let's let folks know that you called me up, like, when we gonna get together? What you doing? I don't have to come in.
Big aspiration.
You can go across the street to the sports bar.
Yeah, I had a lot of aspirations.
Yeah, and so then the next day, so I'm like, no, I don't even do that. I'm not living that way, right?
You said it verbatim. It was
maybe about 36 hours later, you called me.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I'm going home.
So what was up?
I take so good care of myself health wise. I really do pay attention to my body. And I just woke up. I'll never forget it. I woke up that Wednesday morning. How do I say it? You know how when you think you're sick, your throat will start scratching. Like your mind just starts playing tricks on you. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Tuesday night, I'm like, whatever. My friend is getting sick. I'm not gonna name him, but my friend is getting sick.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, like this ain't it. Like, he takes care of himself as well. Like I hang with people that really kind of are mindful. And so I woke up that Wednesday morning. I'll never forget this. I think it was July 8th. Yeah. It was like 6 in the morning. I'm just programmed to wake up at like 6 in the morning. And I was cold. And I'm like, but the AC's on. So I'm like, all right, I'm a little chilly, And then I said, all right, I'm gonna go back to sleep for a second. And and then because I had to work at like 9, East Coast. I work off my laptop, so I had to work at like 9. I'm gonna go ahead and sleep for a second. Wake up. I woke up and I was just like, no, like my body just felt off. Like it just felt like I literally quote unquote said to one of my friends, I said, yeah, a storm's coming. So what was so crazy is not talking to nobody. I'm literally laying down on my phone, booking a flight home, like without talking to any of my friends. And then
something just was like, you need to get out of here.
I'm going home. Like you need to get home. It was like a race. It was I have to get home. And then I mean, mind you, just a little bit of context. I was free in Atlanta. I mean, like Atlanta is wide open. Downtown for the 4th, it was wide open. I thought I was playing it safe by going to the Westin. I said, I'm gonna duck off, be a little bougie, stay away from everybody. The Westin was flooded. The Marquee was flooded. I mean, everybody said, let's go to Atlanta. And there were no masks in public. I mean, we are just
everybody's just hanging out for the holiday weekend, holiday week.
What pandemic? Like literally that's what it was. So I mean, this is all deserving. Let's just start there. You know what I mean? So yeah, my friend comes home from work and he's like, he's like, yeah, how everybody feeling? And we all say like back to back. Yeah, I booked my flight. One friend had a flight for 11. One friend had a flight for 1. Mine was at 5. We all had booked our flights home without even talking to each other. Right. Really? And I looked him dead in his face and I said, yo, a storm's coming. Like I felt my whole body just kind of like, all right. I felt myself getting sick. So, so I'm in the cab. So the Uber, my friend that was leaving at like 1:32, I go with him at noon to the airport. I'm like, I gotta go. Like I'm at the airport at noon. On the way to the airport, I'm not gonna lie, the first 12 hours are the worst of the worst. I think those are I think I called you during. I was like, look, this ain't good.
We were texting.
I mean, it just came so fast. Yeah. And I'm in the Uber, right? And I'm sitting there. My eyes are like, I feel pressure behind my eyes. You know what I mean? Like I just feel it building. I feel pressure in my throat building. I'm like, yo. Like I remember in that moment, I said, all right, I see why people end up on breathing machines. Like I said that and I said, I just got to make it home. I'm in the airport, chills, body aches. Mind you, I'm in Atlanta in July with a full Adidas suit on. Like the jacket, the pants.
Well? Huh? Were you sweating as well? Was it sweat?
I was cold. I was freezing. And so I remember saying, all right, I was on the phone with somebody and I said, all right, like, cause I felt my lungs kind of, and I said, all right, I need to just keep moving. Like I have to walk. I remember watching, CNN guy, what's his name? It's not Anderson Cooper.
Chris Cuomo.
Yes, he got it. Right. Remember he was talking about how he dealt with it in the basement. How he just had to he had to walk. He had to get his respiratory activated. So I literally was in the airport with a mask on, walking in circles. I'm like, dude, I gotta get home. I gotta get home. Just fight this till you get home. So I fought it till I got home.
What did your lungs feel like?
It just felt deep breaths. Just felt hard to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be dramatic about it. I downplay a lot, but it just was hard to take deep breaths. Like I felt like my lungs were constricted. Like I felt like it was just something around my waist, just kind of preventing me from taking deep breaths. So I felt the need to stand up and walk. I get home. I get home at 10. I get to my house. I land at 10:15. I get to my house at 11:30, 20. And mind you, my birthday's at midnight. I just remember coming into my room, covering up in covers, and I just said, this is where I'm going to be to ride this out. And then, but those first 2, I felt sick by the time I got to my room. So from waking up to my room, we're talking 12 hours. It just hit quick. Now, after the initial onset, it felt like a regular flu, and I'm not downplaying it, but it's just, you got to think I am taking the above precautions. I made a soup that I make, with turmeric and ginger in it. I'm taking turmeric shots from Sprouts. I'm drinking water. I'm drinking cranberry juice. I'm taking multivitamins. I'm literally doing everything. I'm drinking emergency. I'm overdosing on my supplements and vitamins. NyQuil helped, the DayQuil helped. The severe cold and flu things definitely helped me. I had sweats, I had chills.
How was your sleeping?
Horrible.
Chris Cuomo had nightmares.
I didn't have that. Okay. Yeah, I'm saying, of course he did. No nightmares.
No, I'm sure he did, but I know it's
totally. Yeah, he had a dream. I believe in him. It just was. It felt like a flu. It felt like, and I had to let it run its course. So Wednesday is when I got home. I would say I finally started feeling better. Maybe like I felt it going away, starting to go away. Yeah. So we're talking 6 days before I felt it kind of like. And then that Wednesday, it kind of like really was going away. So by that weekend, I felt normal, and I just kind of hung out in the crib.
That's one thing. And you never got tested, right?
No, but one of my friends did.
And
positive. Yeah, he had pneumonia as well.
He was one of the friends that you were hanging out with.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So this is what and then another one of my friends got tested. So what's crazy is, we all kind of got sick a little bit in July. Another one of my friends moved, and then got sick again less than a month later, and then went to go get tested that next month, like after he got sick again, and it came up positive. So it's it's just weird, but what I'll say about it overall is I think that the overall virus is definitely real. I think that it's definitely something that should be taken serious, just as we would take the spread of any other virus serious.
Sure.
I do, from the bottom of my heart, believe that these numbers are slightly juiced. I do believe that on the background of this, there's a lot of, and again, I have to do my own personal research, but there's a certain amount of money funding wise that hospitals get per COVID case. I do believe a lot of heart diseases and pneumonias and different things that people in the hospital are being tagged along with COVID. I think there was a day in which 3,000 people got tested, I think, in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
All 3,000 came back positive. So, there's been many reports of false positives. There have been many reports of defective testing. What I'm saying is the virus is real. Yes. Are the numbers accurate? I do not believe so.
Well, I will say that even though I do believe that they're accurate,
love is love.
But even going by what you're saying, just like you think that there's false positives, I think there's false negatives as well. Because in the early part of this, there were people like yourself who were even more sick than you are, that they weren't getting their results back in any kind of timely way. So by the time they got their results back, they were negative. So does that balance out? We don't know.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too controversial, because I will, but I don't think the numbers are truly as accurate. I definitely believe that we have high numbers, but I think the overall, say this carefully, I do not feel as though every last one of those deaths were COVID responsible. I do not, my condolences to everybody who's passed during this time frame. I just don't believe that every last one of those were because of COVID.
Well, so if you go by how you felt, do you think you just had the flu?
I'll never know.
What do you think?
It felt like a flu. It did. But again, this is the heart of July. This is not flu season. I'm not going to be naive as to what I was doing and what I, so forth. But yes.
Have you ever heard of a flu spreading among so many people, such a small group of people in the summertime?
I have not. I believe I had it, but I'm not going to jump around it. I think I did.
You think you had COVID?
Love is love.
I'm just asking. I'm just trying to.
I won't go.
I'm not trying to get you to say anything.
It won't get me. I will not say it on the record.
Okay.
I was under the weather for about a week and some change.
And I'm not trying to debate it.
Yeah, but, it's okay. It's okay. It's definitely a tricky situation that we've never been in. But I do encourage all of my family to stay safe. isolate and quarantine and social distance. I've encouraged everybody, including you, to do that. So at the end of the day, what I believe doesn't really matter in regards to how I feel about the safety of my family. We're gonna. It don't gotta be real. We're gonna act like it is.
So I know you told me like what you did, some of the actions, that you've taken professionally and things that you just explained what happened while you were traveling. So what did you learn about you, Justin? What have you learned about yourself during this time?
Oh, goodness. I think what I've learned the most is just my ability to just adapt and just look at a situation for what it is and figure out the best way to survive. I think I've triggered a lot of survival instincts, and how to position ourselves in a way to exist uninterrupted, to flourish in the midst of chaos. I think it's just resiliency. It's so many different adjectives that I can say for someone's ability to thrive in madness. This is madness.
Yeah.
To everybody who's made a way out of nothing, out of just complete chaos. It's definitely just taught me I'm not crazy. My weird feelings, my weird gut instincts, the things that I feel is the right thing to do in that moment,
have been affirmed.
Yeah, they coexist with society. They coexist with the universe. I think it's just trust your gut, follow your intuition. I've done nothing spectacular in regards to, how I've reacted to it. This was all preparation. Never in a million years could I've told you that a pandemic was going to be the cause of it. I mean, I just felt how I felt. And I'm telling a finance guy after of 10 plus years, there's a recession coming in 2020. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Pulls up all these different charts. Like, the economy's doing better than ever right now. It went against everything that anybody logical believed in.
Some people felt it was coming.
Absolutely.
But I know what you're saying.
And so that's kind of what it taught me the most. Just kind of trust your gut, and I'm wrong a lot. I'm wrong sometimes, but when I'm right, I'm right.
Yeah, man. So we're in 2020 and, this pandemic has just been, everything's just been compounded. We've got social unrest. We've got people dying. So how has from Kobe to George Floyd, to now, and then we had other,
Chadwick Boseman.
I was just about to bring up, I call him Chad. So what is that saying? What do you, have you felt?
Jesus.
I felt a lot of, I still do. I have like a lot of anger that rises up in me a lot. And I'm not an angry person.
You're not an angry person.
No, but it's like I feel like that heat coming sometimes in me.
Yeah.
And so it's just like different emotions come up. So what happens to you? How's this year landed?
Jeez, man. I remember where I was and what I was doing when I heard each of those people. I think Kobe hit me like a ton of bricks. Only because what I was doing was I was at Vail snowboarding, eating lunch. And I cannot make this up. I literally was on my phone looking at Kobe because I didn't know that he had 4 kids. So I'm literally researching like, damn, I didn't know he had a 4th daughter. Like I said that 3 to 5 minutes later, after I put my phone down, after just researching him, one of my friends said, Kobe died. And I literally go back to Google, hit refresh, and it's the top of my screen.
Yeah.
And it just ruined. I think all these deaths have just been so impactful. I'm kind of lost words, to be honest, for every one of them, and Chad was just like the icing, because it was just so left field.
Yeah.
I just it just hurts the most because all of these deaths were just left field, unexpected, no type of pre-warning, just nothing. I felt like my heart was just being ripped out of me every time, to the point where you're almost numb. I think my reaction to Chad passing was almost numb. Like it was almost like I felt my heart leaving me, but I couldn't even shed,
I actually really wanted to know how you felt that night because there's something like you guys don't look alike, but there is something, there's some kind of similarity in your spirits that and there's just something, some people have similar spirits.
I couldn't believe it. And then when I found out that he battled with cancer for 3+ years, colon cancer, stage 3. There's just a certain level of appreciation that you get for people. And I hate it has to be this way, but a lot of good people don't get their flowers until they're gone. I respected him to the fullest while he was here. That type of adversity to still perform. I mean, every movie that we recognize him for, he did during stage 3 colon cancer. You can't make that shit up. What a hero. You always kind of catch yourself from being too selfish because you never really understand what the pain that they're really going through. So once you find out the cause of death, let him rest. I understand now. The selfish part of me was like, this ain't from left field. I can't believe it. But I mean, he's been battling this internally for 3+ years.
Right. We're just learning about it.
I'm just learning about it. So it's like, I get it, but it was so much that you had to process in such a short amount of time. It went from, I can't believe this. No, gone too soon to, okay, he's been dying for years. Yeah. He's been suffering for years. Like, let him rest, appreciate what the mark that he's left on us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I think Chad found peace. And so I kind of processed that a little bit differently than George Floyd and Kobe and the others, Breonna Taylor, the people that have been passing. It's a little different. It was shocking because due to my lack of information, it wasn't shock. The event itself was not shocking. I was shocked by the others. We didn't see those coming. So those hit so much deeper. There's a level of acceptance that came with Chad. Once you found the story, like there's a level of peace and serenity that came with him. It was more of a thank you. I think with the other ones, I felt like somebody stole something from me. Mm-hmm. I felt robbed. It's been hard, man.
Has it revealed anything to you? I mean, the whole journey of this year.
Yeah, man. Like, life is short. Your plan doesn't mean shit if your number is being called. So I think put a lot more emphasis on short-term goals. How do I say it? Like, I don't even look at my long-term goals as long-term goals. I look at them as just a destination. Like, I look at it like, all right, I'm gonna end up here. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I have these objectives that I want to accomplish along the way. I don't sit here and say, all right, in 5 years, I got this. No, because I don't know shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought I was going to be married with kids by 25, 26. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, man. You know what I mean? So stop trying to rush or put a time limit on things that take a lot longer to develop. Right. Appreciate the moment, to a point where you're living and not just existing for your 5-10 year plan. Because you're going to look up and you're going to see 5 to 10 years gone and how much time you wasted focusing on something that doesn't really make you happy in the first place. Right. I think what resonated with me was when Kobe retired, he had a short-term goal, which was to be a better father. Look at how much he accomplished in those 3 years, right? Post retirement. He didn't say in 10 years I did. He had immediate objectives that he wanted to accomplish, and he overachieved at them. He overachieved at them. He was a great father. He was a great teacher. He was a great role model. He had all these different aspirations that he helped us with post basketball. And so that's kind of my outlook on it right now. Kind of like slow down, appreciate what's happening, appreciate the journey. I'm not in a rush to for my years to go by like I used to be. You know?
Yeah. Well, so thank you for doing this. Before we end, what I just want folks to know what made you move to Colorado. Why do you love Colorado? You were gonna leave a year ago, and you were like, "No, I'm going back." Yeah, packed up. I did pack up. Packed up, man. You were like out of there.
So I moved to Colorado because I talked to a medium.
You talked to a medium?
Yep, his name was Lawrence. Yeah, and I remember being at a time in my life where, I did everything that I thought was my life's work, and it just wasn't enough. I went to school, I got a good degree, I got a good job, making the money I thought I was supposed to make, I was living like an adult. I grew up, I had to, and I did about 2 years of going to work and come home, and I just got depressed. I mean, I did. And it was like, look, I'm either going to quit my job and travel the world, or I'm going to move. And so I was looking at Charlotte because I'm a Panthers fan. My man used to live in New York. I was looking at New York. I was looking at Atlanta. I was looking all over. And I just remember feeling so lost because I did not know what my next step was. And I just needed clarity. So what was funny is I went to a tarot card reader because I've always been in the zodiacs and stuff. And I was like, all right, and it was cool, generic. Oh, you're going to do this. You're transitioning here, blah, blah, blah. The whole transition talk, be patient. Yeah, that's not all that. I didn't know. So I think I talked to a medium. I remember, and I sat in the kitchen table in Richmond, Virginia, and I got a page and a half of notes somewhere. I think it's right here, actually, in one of these bill books. And I mean, it's just never been more clear. His statements weren't generic. What he was saying to me. And I think mediums have just this bad reputation or brand of like, oh, all they do is look at crystal balls and talk to dead people. No, man. No, it's so much more than that. I think people should really open their minds to.
Well, he is an intuitive.
He is an intuitive. Yeah. And so it just, I just remember the question. I said, all right, I need to move. Geographically, where do I need to be? And he said, Colorado, you need to go in. You need to seek inward. And so I said, all right, Colorado, because it's so funny. I've always kind of had Colorado or Denver in the back of my head because I love four seasons. I love the idea of mountains. I wanted to be somewhere like Alaska, not in Alaska. So in my head, I'm like, well, it kind of be Colorado. I've never been a day in my life. 2017. Damn, it's come up on 3 years. Actually, yeah, 3 years ago today, actually. And so I came here. I looked at 2 apartments, one in Denver, one in Boulder. That's it. And
what do you love about it? Because I know what you love about it, but I want you to share.
Well, I love the most out of it because it's mine. I came here with a blank sheet of paper, with no family, no friends, and I just built the life that I wanted for myself. I love the outdoors.
That's beautiful.
I love, being active. I love the 4 seasons. I love the peace. I don't have words to describe how it has resonated with me since I've been here, and how I knew it was the right decision before I even got here based on everything in my life telling me no, or there were so many obstacles that started to present themselves, as I approached my date. I was dreaming about people I love dying. I mean, like, this is like everything was telling me not to go. It was like the world did not want me to go. And I was just like, no, this is what I have to do. And I persevered through that. Yeah, I was going to leave. I hit rock bottom again. Not as bad, but I tried to do the whole business thing when I first got out here, and my expenses got to a point where it matched my income. And I was, not broke, but if you accumulate bills that match your salary, you're not profiting anything. And so I couldn't afford to stay. And so I had to start thinking on my feet. And I couch surfed, for lack of a better terms, for 4 months. Virginia for April, Atlanta for May, Dallas for June. I did 2 weeks in New York in July, and I did 2 weeks in Europe. And then all along, I just paid attention to how I felt. And I felt like I was not where I belonged the entire time. I felt a piece of me was missing the entire time. I felt like I belonged where I am right now in Colorado. And so I did everything in my power to come back. And I found a way out of nothing to come back. I think I signed up to be a club promoter again, and it fell through, but and I came back. Everything just fell through. Moral of the story is, if you just do what you know in your gut you're supposed to be doing, everything will line up. I got here, I was staying in one of my bro's spare bedroom. I could only afford to pay him $500 a month and still pay all my bills and my debts off. And I remember getting a phone call from one of my close friends, because I do events with. We throw brunches and stuff out here. He was like, yo, bro, I was in Party City. It was a Friday, the day before our event. And I'm with one of my friends named Najee. And he calls me, and I pick up the phone, like, yo, what's up, bro? And he says, yo, bro, me and Alex, that's my other roommate, we're looking at 3 bedrooms. He didn't even finish his statement. I said, I'm in. He said, I said it so quick. He said, just hold on, slow down. Like, you haven't even seen, like, he said to me, you haven't even really seen, like, the rooms and stuff. I said, don't matter. I'm in. Like, I'll come see it on Monday. And Monday I came and saw it. I was like, yo, it's over. We're done. And I'm in that crib right now. And we just signed the lease for a house to move into on the 15th.
No kidding. All 3 of you?
Yes. So,
that's really cool.
You just have to make sure you're in the position at the right time. And you can only be there if you just follow your instincts. Like, you'll always end up where you're supposed to be if you just listen. You gotta listen.
That's man. Beautiful.
That's
beautiful. You make me want to cry, but I know that it's true. I've lived it. I know it's true.
Yeah.
It's powerful to hear you say it.
Yeah. Love is love, man.
Love is love. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can listen to all of our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Remember to please leave us a review on whatever platform you listen on. Send me an email at letstarthealingpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, let's start healing.